This is a 1990 Nissan 300Zx. And just a little history, I've owned two other 300Zxs. My first car in high school was an NA 300Zx. My first car in college was a twin-turbo 300Zx. Now this one, my girlfriend bought. It's mostly hers, but I like to call it mine. This one's a non-turbo model. Has been taken really good care of by the last owner. The last owner owned it for about 15 years. 300Zx. Non-turbos had a 3-liter V6 dual overhead cam, 24-valve engine. Made a 222 at the crank. Turbos made 300 flat at the crank with the same block. You know, there's obviously differences. It obviously has turbos, lower compression. But yeah, it's the VG30's the engine, dual overhead cam V6. This one is a 5-speed. You can get these with automatic, but we have a 5-speed here. So throughout this review, I'm going to kind of go back and forth and talk about the twin turbo model a little bit, even though this isn't one, just because I've owned one and dailied one. So the NA motor. The NA motor is a dog. It is a boat anchor. It is slow. It is slow. Every Mormon mommy with her V6 Grand Caravan will pull on you at every single light. You'll never win. It's when you get into a canyon where this car really shines, but we'll talk about that in a bit. The motor revs up to 7,000 RPM. It makes noise. You know, it's not really fast, but it has the spirit of an NA car. You got to really wind it out to get it. In lower gear and about 3,000 RPM, you do have a good lump of torque to push you along. So it's not totally gutless. It being an NA model, this has 410 gears in the rear. I think it's 410. I know it's a 4 for sure. And I believe the twin turbos have a 373 in the rear, or 369. Nissan made sure to give this car a little bit more pep in its step. This car does have tasteful modifications to it. It has an exhaust, an intake, and a Jim Wolf ECU. It has KYB adjustable struts and eye-box springs. And we put some 17x9 MB battles in the car as well. Last of the modifications is the wing. That pedestal wing came on 94 up twin turbo models. So it wasn't original to this car, but it looks good. I love how it looks. So this car has a dual lateral link suspension set up in the front, so that means it has 2 control arms, which is really good for like camber gain and quarters when you start to load up the suspension. The car is a pleasure to drive through the canyon. Turn in is really fast, and I think this car is probably the fastest steering rack I've ever driven. There's been times where I'd be like driving and make a left turn at a light, and I wouldn't turn far enough to click the blinker back to its original position, just because I didn't put that much input in to get it to turn. The rear end is also dual control arm rear end. I can't remember the term for that, honestly. It's the same as the S14 and S15, if anyone's curious. They reuse that subframe and suspension bits throughout all those models, so a lot of those parts interchange. So the steering up front is really fast and direct. This car does have a tendency to push and oversteer just because of how heavy it is in the front end. The VG30 weighs something like 600 pounds. That's a lot of weight. But with smooth fingers, you can still get this car around a corner just fine. One thing you'll notice about the chassis is it's really flexible, actually. Now, back in 1990, this car was pretty high-tech, pretty up there. But compared to modern cars now, the suspension is okay. Really, the chassis feels soft and flexible, though. Especially when you go over a bump or something, you can feel it creak and twist. Having the T-tops doesn't help that case. Now, you could find rare models called slick tops. Slick tops are hard tops. They don't have T-tops. My first one in high school was a slick top. The chassis is incredibly more rigid than the T-top model. So if you're going for all-out performance and track and autocross, find a slick top. Now, there's only about 2,000 of those sold in the U.S. And the one I had is a piece of shit. So look for the 1999 number of them that are actually good, because the first one, shit. I've never been fond about the sound of this car. Just the exhaust has never done it for me. This has a MagnaFlow exhaust on it, but no matter, I had an HKS exhaust on my last one. I've never been crazy about the sound of this car. I don't know what it is. It kind of actually sounds like old 80s V6 Ferraris. It has that similar like rumble to it. takes all the way where the front bumper is. It's actually tucked under the nose panel there. The brakes are really firm in this car. Regardless of twin turbo or NA 300ZX, you'll get 4-piston calipers in the front and 2 pistons in the rear. With 1990 models, the NA rotors are a little thinner, meaning the caliper is also slightly different, but it's the same design. 91 and up twin turbo and NAs are all the same. This being a 1990 model, this also has the non-airbag steering wheel, which is desirable to some people because it's still a Z wheel. It's still a factory OEM wheel that says Z on it, but it doesn't have that airbag, and the airbag wheels are really ugly. I mean, who wants to die in that? The nice thing about not having the airbag is, depending on the state you live in, you can change it with an aftermarket wheel and still be legal. One thing that makes this an awesome driving experience is the visibility in this car. It feels like you're like a front row seat to a movie. You just got a vision of everything. Tiny A-pillars, you can see everything out here. The front windshield's massive. You got everything going on in front of you. You got a front row seat. Passing people's hard in this car. I'm telling you guys, it's slow. It's a dog. Honestly, it's a momentum car. It feels like one, in a sense where you can't give up your speed, so you gotta really make sure you maintain it. Let's talk about the looks of the car. What's not to like about it? It looks like a friggin' Nissan, Lamborghini, Ferrari hybrid thing. No matter where you go, you're gonna get people asking you what kind of car this is, and you're gonna get stares from everybody. It's funny, this being a 1990 model, it doesn't have the Nissan badge in the front, so it's really fun to play with people. But the look of this car is just classic. It has that classic sports car design, a little bit of 90s goofiness to it. And to add on to that, this car is just the 90s bunched up and put onto a body on top of 4 wheels. I mean, look, you got T-tops. You used to have a cassette player. Look at how big the antenna is back there. It looks like an RC car. But yet, with all the 90s goofiness in it, it's aged well. It doesn't look out of place. It just looks like a sports car. The interior is one for the books also. Everything is geared for the driver. You have your climate control here, your cruise control and lights here, cages directly in front of you, and just the road. Passenger gets nothing. They get a blank dash and a glove box to play with. I do wish the seats were a little better, and there's nothing you can do about it now. Around, if you're really loaded up in corners, you can feel your body start to lean against the door, lean against a transmission tunnel. This car has no cup holders. You know what I do? I don't smoke, so I don't need this. I can put a cup right there. Now I'm going to get someone saying, oh, I never put drinks in my seat. So, after owning 3 of these, what's it like to own one? It really is a love-hate relationship. One day this car will be perfect, you'll be in love with it, it'll be a great day. The next day it's spilling coolant all over your driveway. The car is a complicated beast. Fun fact, this is the first car to be designed with CAD software. And it's also the first production car to have individual coil packs. But to put the complication into perspective, there's 4 things that control your idle, 4 different modules: your TPS, your idle air control valve, your FICD, and your AAC. So you have an idle issue, we gotta go through all of those. Not to mention they're all tucked up in the engine bay and they're hard to get to. Not the TPS, but everything else is. I think one forum member on 300ZX Club measured out all the intake tubes for the twin turbo model, and it came up to like 23 feet of intake tubing. That's crazy. There's a lot of vacuum hoses everywhere also. That's why you'll find with a lot of these cars, a lot of the emissions equipment is deleted, not only because they're complicated to fix, because it cleans up the engine bay so much. This car still has everything. It still has EGR, it still has the air injection valves. It's got it all here still. These cars have timing belts. That's one thing I hate about them, because doing a timing belt on this car sucks. And it's one of those things where you have to spend the money on the OEM part. You do not want to risk doing, you know, O'Reilly's AutoZone Napa part. You want to go OEM. You don't want to risk the quality, and the OEM part's kind of pricey, 400, 500 bucks roughly, depending where you get it from, depending on what year and twin turbo or NA. But plan out a weekend to do your timing belts if you're going to do it yourself. Pulling your first intake manifold? Have fun! That takes a while also, especially when all the equipment's still intact. What I'm trying to say is this car isn't for the faint of heart when it comes to mechanic work. So either make sure you're handy with the wrench or willing to spend the money at a shop. And even at a shop, you want to make sure you find a shop that's comfortable with working on this, because some shops don't know what to do with some of the stuff on this car. So cost of ownership's a little higher. It's kind of one of those things you expect with a 25-year-old sports car. Touching on that as well, you got to remember, if you're going into buying one of these, this is an old car. You could have a new engine, but all the bushings could be shot. You got to remember, rubber does deteriorate over time, regardless of if the car's used or not. Even if you find a car with low mileage, even if you buy one with like 10,000 original miles on it, those seals are probably bad still because the car was sitting around so much. It's really hard to win with buying one of these. The only way you're going to buy one that's going to be perfect out the box is if someone went and took it to a reputable shop and had them go through every little thing in this car, basically restored it. And that's where these cars are getting. They're old cars. You need to find one that's restored if you want it good or plan on working on it. Now, if you want a project, this is a great car. It'll especially teach you a lot. It'll teach you how to use a multimeter, that's for sure. But this car does make for a great cruising car. It's a great weekend car. I used to daily mine, and I suggest against it now. I suggest against it, just because of how temperamental these cars can be sometimes due to their age. That unless you find your rare example of an immaculate car that's been well taken care of and everything's been gone through, I wouldn't daily it. Otherwise, it'd be a decent daily. Fuel economy still kind of sucks with these cars. My twin turbo would get about 12 to the city. This gets a little better. It gets about 16 city. About mid-20s highway. So it's not the best on fuel. If you don't drive very far, though, it might not be a bad thing at all. I think the thing this car does best, though, is it does charisma. And I know this is an inanimate object, it's a car, but it has spirit to it. It talks to you, it fights with you, it argues with you sometimes. But you know the car has charisma there. And you can really have fun with this car. You really open up its personality on an open road, on twisty corners. You really get into it. What this car will really do for you is it'll teach you things. It'll teach you how to work on a car. It'll teach you how to maintain a car. It'll teach you about classic cars. It'll teach you about Z cars. It'll give you passion and inspiration. But the most important thing this car will do for you is it'll teach you about the love of cars and the love of driving. And that's the number one thing this car does. So if you have the opportunity to own a 300ZX, and let's say theoretically in this situation, it's not going to be your daily driver, but it's your opportunity to have this as a fun car, go for it. You will learn so much from this car. And you will gain the joy of driving, and you will feel that love for driving. And that's what the 300ZX does good. It's a good driver's car. If you show this car love, it'll show you love back.